This is the story of a man who got lost in the Amazon before it was called the Amazon, who found a river the size of an ocean, claimed he saw warrior women straight out of Greek mythology, and somehow survived the deadliest jungle on earth. But was it real? Or was Francisco de Orellana just another Spanish conquistador willing to lie for gold and glory? Stay with me, because what really happened on this journey might be a little hard to believe. Welcome to the Mysteries of Latin America. My name's Andrew, and here I tell the stories of the myths, legends, history, and unsolved mysteries happening everywhere, from the northern tip of Mexico to the southern tip of Argentina and all across the Caribbean islands. From lost cities to ancient civilizations, we track down and tell the stories that many of us didn't hear in our history classes until now. So what happens when you send at least 300 men into one of the world's most brutal jungles looking for gold? It doesn't go well. In 1541, Gonzalo Pizarro wanted a legacy. And if that last name sounds familiar, it's because Gonzalo Pizarro had already helped his brother Francisco Pizarro conquer the Inca Empire. But he wanted more. He wanted to find his own glory, a kingdom full of riches, a city of gold, a land overflowing with wealth. Along with gold and silver, Spain was eager to find spices, especially cinnamon. At the time, cinnamon was highly prized in Europe, and inspired by rumors of a land of cinnamon deep in the jungle, Gonzalo Pizarro launched an expedition in search of it. Enter Francisco de Orellana, Pizarro's right-hand man, charismatic, fearless, and totally unprepared for what was ahead of him. They set off with 300 Spaniards, indigenous guides, porters, and slaves, and enough weapons to take on an empire. At least they thought so. They expected to conquer a civilization. Instead, the Amazon conquered them. The problem started immediately. The cinnamon trees they were told about were useless. What they found was similar, but it wasn't the spice that made fortunes in Europe. The Andes Mountains crushed them. Sheer cliffs, freezing nights, and trails collapsing under their feet wiped out men and animals. Then the real nightmare began. Rivers swallowed their path. The heat and humidity rotted their food. Horses disappeared into mud pits, drowned, starved, or became food. And speaking of food, starvation set in. Some men actually boiled the leather from their saddles to eat. I am not even kidding. And in some cases, other men started looking at their fallen comrades a little differently. Yes, to what you're thinking. With the expedition collapsing, Pizarro made a desperate call. He ordered Orellana to take 57 men, build a boat, go downriver, and bring back food. The plan? A quick supply run. The reality? Orellana would never return. Orellana and his men set off down the Napo River, a tributary of the Amazon, in a makeshift boat, thinking they'd be back in a few days. They were very, very wrong. The current was relentless. Rowing back was impossible. The rainforest seemed to never end. And there was no food, no rescue, no turning back. So they made a choice. If they couldn't go back, they were going forward. A few days turned into months. Every bend in the river held new surprises, some terrific, some terrifying. They encountered indigenous tribes, some friendly, some armed and ready for battle. They found vanishing cities swallowed by the jungle. They found roads covered in vines leading to places long forgotten. And the deeper they went, the stranger the stories got. Then came the attack. According to Orellana and his men, they were attacked by a fierce group of warrior women, tall, powerful, and deadly in battle. They fought like the Amazons from Greek mythology. Orellana was so convinced that when he finally reached the end of the river, he called it Rio Amazonas, the Amazon River. But was it real, or just the ultimate conquistador exaggeration? Some historians believe Orellana made it all up to impress the crown and secure funding for a second voyage. But some argue he actually found a matriarchal society deep in the Amazon. Even today, the truth is up for debate. There's news on that in a minute. After 8 brutal months, Orellana and his men finally reached the Atlantic Ocean. They had just done the impossible, the first documented Europeans to navigate the entire Amazon River. Back in Spain, Orellana was hailed as a hero. He told stories of powerful civilizations lost in the jungle, endless riches just there for the taking, and of course warrior women ruling entire regions. And Spain fell for it, hook, line, sinker. They gave him permission to return and the resources for a second expedition to claim the Amazon for the crown. So what happened to Orellana and his second expedition? Disaster from start to finish. Before they even reached the jungle, the mission was falling apart. Orellana set sail in 1545 with 4 ships, hundreds of men, and very high hopes. Storms hit almost immediately. 2 ships sank even before they made it across the Atlantic. Supplies rotted. Fresh water turned to sludge. The food filled with worms. Men started dying even before they reached the land. But when they finally reached the coast, it got worse. The survivors were starving. They were too weak to fight, too weak to work, too weak to go on. Their ships were useless, wrecked, leaking, and beyond repair. The jungle wasn't as welcoming this time. No gold, no allies, no easy river to follow. And then came the final blow. Orellana himself disappeared. Some say he caught a fever and died on the river. Others say he wandered into the jungle and was never seen again. No grave, no glory, no second chance. His dream of conquest ended, not with a kingdom, not with a conquest, but with silence. But there's more. For centuries, historians believed Orellana still made the whole thing up. But then science changed the story. Satellite images and LiDAR technology have revealed massive earthworks, ancient road networks, and lost settlements hidden beneath the Amazon rainforest canopy, some stretching for over 15 miles in places like the Bolivian Amazon and Ecuador's Upano Valley. Now there are some that believe that Orellana really did stumble upon an advanced civilization. But by the time later explorers arrived, diseases like smallpox and influenza had wiped them out, likely brought by Orellana and his men and other Europeans. So the question remains, was Francisco Orellana a liar, or did he witness a lost world just before it vanished forever? What do you think? Was Orellana a brilliant explorer, or just another Spaniard chasing fame and money in the New World? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you have a story of your own, send it to me, either in the comments or send it to me directly by email at andy@andycancun.com. That's andy@andycancun.com. Do you love stories from Mexico, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean? Then subscribe for more episodes of the Mysteries of Latin America. And check out my playlist, which I call The Vault, for more lost cities, hidden history, strange disappearance, and flat-out weird stories. Friend, until next time, I'm Andrew, and these are the Mysteries of Latin America. Adios.